Good afternoon. It's once again Friday, 5:30 in the p.m. And this is your host, U.S. Representative Danny Davis, for the next 25 minutes of the most interactive television that you will come into contact with. And that's Hotline 21. So sit back, grab yourself a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, and talk to me. I always enjoy coming home on the weekends. I got home last night about 7 o'clock, and we weren't supposed to have been out of session today, but for some reason, our Republican colleagues who make all the rules and are in charge decided that we would not be in session today, so I got a chance to come home last night. And I have been totally involved ever since I've gotten here. I was looking at my schedule, and let me tell you, I got so many interesting things coming up. For example, tomorrow morning, there's going to be a joint caucus meeting with gubernatorial candidates. That's going to be all of the individuals who are running for governor are going to be meeting with members of the black elected type. And so we'll talk to them about what they're going to do. Then at 10 o'clock, I have a symposium at the University of Illinois at Chicago, where Dr. Wynn is going to be chairing a discussion on gun violence. 4 o'clock tomorrow, I have a ribbon cutting and grand opening ceremony for the Pickett Funeral Home. And of course, Brian Pickett is a young fellow, about the youngest person that I know who actually owns a funeral home. I've known Brian since he was a teenager, and we used to rave about his mother cooking potato pies because they had invited me to their home. They lived on Congress at the time in the 5200 block, and I lived on Polk Street in the 5200 block. And so I've known Brian. I know when he got a chance to get this funeral home, and the way he got his funeral home, he used to hang out with Mr. Johnson at Johnson's Funeral Home down near Cabrini Green on Division Street. Mr. Johnson took a liking unto him, and when Mr. Johnson died, he actually left the funeral home to Brian. And Brian took it and has run it and has made it the Pickett Funeral Home. So I'm looking forward to going to that ribbon cutting where he has purchased a new building, and it's right on Madison Street. And the place that he purchased happened to have been built by a fellow named Jack Shackelford. Jack's mother was actually my secretary for many years, and of course Jack was killed, and that's how that building, he had an automobile parts stuff and all kind of other things. And so a lot of good stuff is going on. But to the here and now, I'm in the studio with Mr. Butch Campbell, who is what we call in my business a community activist. I have known Butch for a long time, more than 40 years, and he's been actively engaged and involved all of that time. I've never known him to work for any social service agency or anything like that. He is an activist from the heart and the spirit. I've never known him to earn any money working for anything going on in the community, just as I tell people who do politics and they want to get paid, and I tell them I've worked in many campaigns all over the country. Never have I gotten a single penny for working in any campaign. And I've worked in campaigns all over America, trying to help people get elected that I thought were going to make a difference. So, Butch, what is an activist? I mean,
A community activist?
yeah, what is a community activist?
Well, a community activist should be someone that has a feeling, a consciousness toward the community. Someone who feel that he is his brother's keeper.
All right, so now you are retired from work, right?
Yes,
what kind
I
of
am.
work did you do?
Well, I retired from working for Secretary Jesse White, Vehicle Services.
Okay, and so how long did you work there?
I worked there about 12 years.
Okay,
Prior to that, I worked for Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation.
the FDIC?
Yes, sir.
Now, what was you doing at the FDIC?
I would maintain paperwork on various banks that they had closed.
Were you downtown on
I was on Monroe.
LaSalle Street?
Monroe and LaSalle, I believe it was.
A friend of mine worked there also. Did you ever run into a guy named Tommy Cobb?
Not that I can remember.
Okay, but he worked there also. Now, I think he actually worked in security, so that doesn't necessarily, mean that you would have. No, he actually worked for the Federal Reserve Bank, where you go in there and you see all these stacks of money. I'm talking about just money everywhere you look. And, everything is, of course, on camera. Everything, when people come to work, they're on camera. When they leave, they're on camera.
Yeah, that's quite
But
different.
Yeah, that's quite. But how did you get started with community action?
After I got out of service, when I was 21. And originally, I started reading a lot of various books on black history and even some fiction books. And I found out that even with the fiction books, that a lot of it was reality, And then in studying my Bible, I just got to the point where I realized that no man is an island within himself. And that my studies and my belief eventually brought me to the conclusion that I had to give in order to receive. And that's been a blessing in my life.
Did you get a certain level or amount of satisfaction out of things that you've done, since that's all you could have gotten?
Yes, Congressman, I've been married 52 years. I'm 72 years old. I have 4 kids. I have 18 grandkids. I have 8 great-grandkids. And I'm retired, and I'm living quite comfortable. And I contribute that to God knowing my heart, not that I'm perfect, but he knows that I strive to do the right thing, and I believe these are blessings that he's given me.
And so you find need for things to take place and try and help them happen.
Right. I definitely do.
So what are you working on now?
Okay, well, first of all, there's a philosophy behind it. In the Bible, you'll find there's a scripture that says you're not hot and you're not cold. You're lukewarm. And unfortunately, from my perspective, I see an alarming amount of my people that are lukewarm. See, I find that that too many of us place pleasure before wisdom and knowledge. See, and that wisdom and knowledge is what we need to go forward. And I base that, every product you get, it gets a book, an instruction book, to show you how to maintain that product. I feel that the Bible is our product. I feel that it teaches us, when they asked Jesus what was the greatest commandment, he said, give honor to God, and the one just like that is to treat people the way you want to be treated. And if I'm hurting, I would definitely want somebody to help me, you know.
And so you are a reader.
Oh, definitely. Oh,
An
yes.
avid reader.
Definitely.
And that helps you to be balanced and focused. And let me just let our callers know that, you know, you can call in. I got regular callers. Sometimes they see certain kind of stuff going on. They may not, but I've got regular callers who call all the time. So you got a little time to get your punch in or get your word in. Anything coming up, Butch, that people need to know about, that they can be a part of?
Yes. Saturday, October the 21st, we'll be having a vigilant, I guess that's what you would call it, on Laramie. We'll be going from Division to North Avenue. And through the grace of the good Lord, I've reached out to various organizations who are participating. What we're going to be doing is we're going to have bags in which we're going to have information that these various organizations are going to put in the bag. We're also going to have the local community newspaper, the Austin Weekly, Austin Voice in there. And we're going to knock on the doors and give the people these bags with all of these resources. But we're also going to encourage them to get involved. I'm a member of the Peacemakers Coalition. And that's not an organization. It's a coalition of various people that are involved with other organizations. And what we want to do is bring this together and focus on one spot at a time.
All right, and so you're going to be interacting in the area between Division and North Avenue.
Yes.
That's 1200 North
To the end of
to
15.
1600
Right, the
North.
beginning.
And from Laramie, which is 5200 West, to what?
We're starting with that one block on Laramie at
All
1
right.
o'clock.
All right.
We're going to, after we go out there and talk to the people, the following week we'll be having a meeting.
All right.
And we're going to see how many people from Laramie come to that meeting. We're going to, if they don't have a block club, we're going to encourage them to start one, and we will support them. If God willing, we intend to start there and work all the way to Central.
So you're going to go, you've taken a 4-block area
4-block area.
from Laramie to Central and from Division to North Avenue.
Yes, not limited to that area though.
But that's where you started.
That's where we're starting.
And what is the message that you're going to be conveying to the people?
We're going to tell them that it's time we come together. You know, you hear so much about our people saying, if we would do this, if we would do that, if black people would come together. Well, this is what we're going to bring this message. We have to come together. Now, what we want to do is show numbers. We want these people to look out of their door and see all of this activity going on their block. And we're going to encourage them to get involved, to join one of the block club, one of the organizations that's participating, or even just do something with the kids, you know.
So you are promoting activism.
Right.
And engagement.
That's right.
You know, I've been pushing, and I'm pushing this concept that we need to create more opportunity for African American boys so that they can become the African American men that we'd like to see them become.
Right.
And so I'm asking people if they don't have on their block or in their neighborhood a Boy Scout group, organize one.
Right.
or a b-ball group, organize one, or a reading club, organize one. There ought to be something that interests young people to be involved with beyond whatever it is that they're just currently a part of. My granddaughter ran for homecoming queen in her high school this week.
Okay.
She didn't win, but I was glad to see her run. I don't know what motivated her to run because I really haven't asked her. I don't do a whole lot of probing, but I was pleased to know that she was willing to submit herself to the other students as one that they might see as being homecoming queen. Well, not winning, I'll probably talk to her about that because every time you lose, it does not necessarily mean that you lost.
Right, that's
You know, I always say that out in this world we find success begins with the fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. So you're trying to impart to the people in that area, not that you're trying to tell them what to organize or even how to organize, but you're just saying be involved with each other.
Involved, right.
And if you be involved with each other, something positive in all likelihood will come out of that.
That's right. You know, at this time, Congressman, we have a chess program that we have every Saturday from 9:30, I believe, to 11 o'clock. And the lady that coordinates that for us is Miss Ball. I think you know her.
Carolyn Ball. I've known both she and her mother for a long time.
Right. Also, we have at Christ, there's a church, Christ Lutheran Church, located on Lemoyne, and I believe that's
it's not St. Paul, is it?
No, Christ Lutheran Church. That's around Laurel.
All right.
And they have a school that they hadn't been using. It was closed down. So their pastor, Reverend Wright, is a member, a participant in the coalition. He allows us to use the school, and what we do is allow the kids to come every Saturday morning, play basketball. We feed them, we let them play basketball, and we either show a motivational movie or either have a book or something, have a discussion with them. It's not so much the activity that we're interested in, but these activities allow us to draw the young people and allow us to kind of interact, to establish a dialogue with them.
Well, you know, I think I'm familiar with the church that they recently had anniversary.
Right.
I have cousins who attend that church.
Oh, okay.
And my cousins, I had a cousin who died, and he was 90-something years old. And it's his family that attends that church. So I'm very familiar with it. And I think that's wonderful that they open the doors. You know, we've run out of town, over time, and all of that. But tell us a little more as we get ready to leave. We're not out of time. The clock said 5:49. What's going on?
Congressman.
We got a caller. Let's get this caller in. Caller, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Davis.
Go right ahead.
I'm ready, and the gentleman next to you. Listen, in a perfect world, when the gentleman was talking, can I talk?
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay. In a perfect world, what the gentleman next to you saying would be right. But people are afraid to come out of their houses people are afraid to go in their yard. That has to be fixed first. And then the community will come together. But all them shootings in the community, ain't nothing going to come together. And I have a question for you. Have you done anything for the wonderful comedian that died that I suggested that Bud Pelican parade and the barbecue for him?
Are you talking about Dick Gregory?
Yes.
Yes. You know, it was very interesting because the fellow who was helping put together the funeral arrangements for Dick Gregory called and asked if I knew any funeral homes in Washington, D.C. that they may want to use. And I told them that I really didn't, but I also knew that I had gone to a funeral in Washington, D.C. that the Gatlins were involved with, and I told them to call Gatlin and ask them. And I was very pleased that, and the fellow who was working with them, I've known his family for years. They used to live on Central Avenue, and their father was a minister and had a church in Maywood. But the networking opportunities that you get, but I'll let Butch answer your question.
You mentioned fear, people afraid to come out of their house. That's ridiculous. Now, let me say this. Let me finish. Let me finish. My belief...
Pregnant women are getting shot and killed, and you're telling me that's ridiculous?
Can I finish? Can I finish, sir?
But just tell the truth.
Okay, I'm speaking my projection on this, and you can accept it or not. Now, what I'm getting ready to say is these are our young men. In the past, we didn't have this problem. During the time of slavery, there was respect. During the Jim Crow era, there was respect. The church was involved real deep in community activities. And a lot of times when I speak, hypothetically what I say is that we left the religion behind and got a little bit of freedom and moved up north and bought a red Cadillac, got a red suit, and went to the red light district. We've got to get back to spirituality. We got to get back and communicate with these young people. The biggest mistake, the biggest thing that we have going against us is the division among the young people and the elderly people, because we are not passing down the rules and regulations that we were brought up under.
Well, how do you respond to that, caller?
I apologize. Now, what you said is 100% right. I cut him off too quick, and I apologize for that.
And I'm going to tell you something else, and I hope I can say this. I believe in whooping butts. I'm going to just tell you. See? There's some things young people, babies don't understand. If you set candy over here and a wholesome meal over here, that child is going to want the candy because they don't understand they need the wholesome meal. When my father used to whip my butt, he used to tell me, one day I understand. And I thank God for that. I understand.
Well, let me ask if we got another caller we want to get in. Thank you so much, caller. I really appreciate your call. Let's try to take the next person. Caller, are you there?
Yes, salute Congressman Danny Davis. Thank you for not retiring, Congressman. And to this young man sitting next to you,
yes,
he's doing the right thing. When you begin something, we look to increase numbers. So don't give up, sir. I'm from the south side, and the west side is still the best side, as I always say. Continue on what you're doing, because those numbers will increase. Kids themselves, when they come out and be involved, they bring their mama, their grandmama, they get other people involved. So continue on with that procedure.
Amen.
Thank you very much. And Butch lives in South Holland, I believe.
Now keep up the work.
That's about as far south as you can get.
I just went home when you called me. Can I comment on something on that? Okay. You know, during my younger days out here as a community activist, I used to get very discouraged when I go all out for a meeting and very few of our people show up. But now it doesn't bother me because I don't know how far or how far God wants me to go in this race. But I'm going to go as far, it's me. I'm going to go as far as I can. Then whatever everybody else do, that's between them and God in the end. But when I stand before him, I want to have my credentials together.
All right, I think what Butch is saying maybe is, please, the song says, be patient with me.
Amen.
God is not through with me yet. And so as long as God is using you, me, or him, let's keep on. And I'm going to end, I just picked this up. I saw it. It's a poem, and people do know that I love poetry. So we'll see you next week. But in the meantime, sunset and evening star, and one clear call for me. And may there be no moaning of the bar when I put out to sea. But such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and foam, when that which drew from out the boundless deep turns again home. Twilight and evening veil, and after that the dark. And may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. For though from out our bourne of time and place the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. Thank you, Butch Campbell, for being with us.
I appreciate
Thank you to the peacemakers. Anybody who got that information, come on out to that great meeting that's going to take place Saturday morning at Division and Laramie.
October the 21st at 1 o'clock.
And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.